Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of fighters that would be a perfect fit for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Of course, these are just brand new fighters and not Echo Fighters, but if you would like to see a video just dedicated to Echo Fighters, make sure to leave a like and of course subscribe if you're new. But anyway, let's get into the video. Anyway, for our first fighter, we're going to be taking a look at Incineroar. Now, this is probably one of the most obvious choices for a new fighter in the game, and this is probably going to happen. Of course, Incineroar will be our Gen 7 Pokemon, and he is extremely popular, and I'm pretty sure the people at Game Freak and the Pokemon Company definitely want him to be in the game. So I think Incineroar is probably going to happen, and we're probably going to see him in the next Nintendo Direct, whenever that is. Next on the list is Dillon, which is part of the Rolling Western series on the 3DS. The games tend to sell well, and he can have a really unique moveset he can have his roll. He'd be kind of similar to Sonic, but quite a bit different in terms of his physics. He's not known to be an assist trophy out of this video, so he could end up being one. So with that, he could be really, really cool in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Next up, we have Paper Mario, which could be a really unique fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Paper Mario is one of my favorite characters and from one of my favorite series of all time, so it'd be really cool to incorporate him into the series. There's 3 versions of Links, why not have 3 Marios? And Paper Mario could use some of his really unique abilities from his games, such as his hammer, paper airplane, and maybe some of his partners. But overall, he'd be a really good fit for the roster. Anyway, next up we have is Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles X. Xenoblade is really due for another representative, and since it's a profitable series, it definitely deserves that. People wanted Rex and Pyra, but I think Elma is a better choice since she was from the game that released when they decided the roster. But overall, definitely a cool character to add to the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. Next up we have is Karate Joe, and this would be our Rhythm Heaven rep. People really want the Chorus Kids as well, but I think Karate Joe is the best fit for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate since he is a fighter and the Chorus Kids are just singing kids. So I think he would be an interesting choice for the roster. I don't know too much about Rhythm Heaven myself, so for me to say what he'd have in his moves is quite a mystery, but I think that they need a Rhythm Heaven rep in the series overall. Next up we have is Chibi Robo. Chibi Robo is such an interesting character, and I think that he would definitely work very well. He has a unique moveset with electric-based moves, so he could use his electric plug that he has. And of course, Ziplash came out when they were deciding the roster, so making him a possible pick for the roster. Next up, we have is Steve in Minecraft, which is another character that I would think would work really well in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. You can have different skins such as Alex, and maybe just other generic ones like Farmer and stuff like that. I think that he would be a really unique fighter by having his sword, pickaxe, maybe fishing rod, they can have ender pearls, etc. And even Overworld Stage would be really cool as well. He could just be an assist trophy, but I think that he would be a really interesting fighter. And they could even put the Creeper as an assist trophy, but I think having Minecraft in the game in some way would definitely be a positive thing for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Next up, we have another character that should be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The Legend of Zelda doesn't have a lot of unique fighters right now, and since there's just a lot of versions of Zelda and Link and Ganon, I think it'd be really cool if they add a character from another Zelda game. And of course, I think Skull Kid would be a perfect candidate for that stuff. He would represent the Majora's Mask game, and he's not been in his trophy yet, so he has a high chance of being there as a fighter. And since the Moon is his trophy from Majora's Mask, that makes him have a better chance overall. Next up, we have is Rayman. Rayman is of course our Ubisoft rep for this time, and of course, Nintendo and Ubisoft have been good terms. They made Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Starlink Battle for Atlas with Star Fox, so I think that they're, in terms of getting him in, he should be in the roster, and I think that he'd be really unique, and he'd be really interesting, so I think Rayman is a perfect candidate for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in terms of his chances and his moveset, which could be really interesting. Next up, we have as another highly requested character, and that is Gino from Super Mario RPG. Of course, there was a Mii Fighter costume, so definitely Sakurai knows that he's a highly requested character, and of course, he would be a Square rep for this time, and he's just a really interesting character. I don't know if he'd be part of the Super Mario RPG or the Mario series, but we'd have to wait and see for that, but I think he's going to be part of Super Mario RPG. And I think he's an interesting looking character, and I think Sakurai definitely likes him and probably wants to put him in the game. So we might see that eventually. Next up we have is Bandana Waddle Dee from the Kirby series. This is a character that is also highly requested, definitely in Japan. He would be a good fit for the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster because he's the 4th player in the Kirby series after Kirby, DDD, and Meta Knight. And he would be really interesting with his spear, so they could definitely make an interesting moveset for him. Next up we have is another highly requested character, which is Isaac from Golden Sun. Of course, he was an assist trophy, so he could be an assist trophy again, but because we kind of seen that part where there was on the website where it kind of looked like a Golden Sun battle sequence, so he could be in the game, and I think he would be really cool as a fighter. He can incorporate a lot of moves. I've never played Golden Sun, so I don't know a lot about it, but I think he would be a really cool fit for the game. And for our last character on the list, that is BanjoKazooie. So of course, this would be our next Microsoft rep after Steve. Maybe we get Steve in his Echo Fighter, and we get them as full fighters, but maybe they'd be DLC. Who knows? Then again, they'd be a really unique fighter. They'd have really cool moves, you know, with some from the N64 games. Of course, that would be where their design is based off of, because I think Sakurai would definitely want that. And of course, I think that would be really interesting. They're highly requested, and they've been on Nintendo platforms, so they'd be really cool. Anyway guys, that is it for the video. Of course, Sakurai did say the number of character reveals will start slowing down, so maybe 2 more characters from my list will get in, and maybe we'll see 5 more reveals, or even 3. But these are just my opinions of what characters would be a good fit for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and aren't totally crazy and out of the box ideas. That is of the time recording. What characters would you like to see in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and would be a perfect fit for the roster? Make sure to comment down below, and if you want to see what Echo Fighters would be a good fit for a Smash, make sure to hit the like button and sub if you're new, because I have a lot of new content coming on the channel. With that, see you next time. Goodbye!